It's Kimberly here, meditation teacher. Welcome to Tuesday's Transformational Tip. I wanted to start off today's Tuesday's Transformational Tip with a little bit of a story that kind of inspired me to do this video. So this video is inspired action, totally. So I was sitting with my little girl and she has a presentation that's due next week. And it's about something that represents her that have the colors of Halloween, okay? Because it's October. So she came to me and she said, so in my presentation, I'm doing this beautiful ballerina dress and how it represents me. And so she's going on to tell me the steps of how this ballerina dress represents her, because she does ballet. She's been doing it since she was 5. So she says to me, I really didn't like ballet. And then I really started loving ballet. And I thought, whoa, wait a second. You need to tell them the step that really shifted you around ballet. And so I brought her back to the night that right after ballet class, she used to cry and say, oh, do I have to do ballet every single year? It's so dry and it's so boring, mommy, and the music is so slow. And doing the dun, 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 dun for an hour was starting to feel really heavy to her. And right when we came into the house after driving home from dance class, she saw the Nutcracker just by synchronicity, that was playing on the TV. And she stood there captivated. And normally she goes to bed at 8. She stayed up until midnight watching ballet, the 2 programs that had come on about ballet. So she saw all these professional ballet ladies dancing around and so graceful. And she said, Mommy, is that why I'm doing ballet? Is this where it leads? And I said, well, listen, you're going to do what you want to do in your life. You have to have an idea of where you're going. But for these ladies, they started where you are. That was their vision. That was their goal. That was their desires. That was their calling. So that's what they had to do to get to where they are right now. So if you see that for yourself, then yes, they started where you are. And this is why you're doing those classes that are so tedious sometimes and so boring sometimes and so repetitive sometimes. And I thought to myself, you need to say that in your presentation. It's a really good point in your presentation. And it just really lit my mind up to, I hear so often that, oh, these things that we do for transformation are so boring. But the simple fact that we want to transform into something, or we want to transform our lives to a certain place, it's all about that shift that needs to occur. No matter what it is, there are going to be tedious things that we have to do. There's going to have to be some stuff. I'm really passionate about meditation, and it has been the thing that's transformed my entire life as a base tool that I use always. But sometimes in the afternoon, it's been hard and it's been tedious, and it's been, I don't really feel like it sometimes, but I always do it. And I feel so much better for it. The reason why I have completely different actions and behaviors and mindset than kind of, being in meditation is very calm, and it's very, I have to dig and I have to work and I have to focus. And I've heard people say, oh, meditation's like fishing. Well, it's not. It's like doing math. And from what I see, if you're sitting there and you're focusing and you're really paying attention, there's a certain amount of work involved in transformation. And no matter what your goal is, and I think that's the message that came over me, have a clear idea and remind yourself often. I know you've heard this so many times, but it's my turn to tell you right now. And it's my turn to remind, it's even a reminder for me. She reminded me of having that vision in place, because sometimes we get caught up in that daily stuff, and we get caught up in the detail and the short vision, the short version, the short sightedness of what the goal is all about. But Infinite intelligence has a bigger plan and a better idea. So I want to tell you a little story, and I can't not go without telling you this story. When I really wanted to be a flight attendant and I was studying French to become a flight attendant, I had in my mind one goal, and it was I wanted to fly with this really small carrier from Canada that was like, it was my dream carrier. I wanted to be with that carrier so much, and there was nothing else. I didn't look at anything else. I had no plan B. That was it for me. And so I applied almost at the end of my certification in French to be completely bilingual. It was a 2-year certification. So towards the very end, I applied and I got a letter back saying, we're not hiring. What do you mean you're not hiring? This was my plan. You have to be hiring. This was my plan. We're not hiring. We're not hiring. We're not hiring. So I sat on it. I finished my certification, and right towards the end, I had a roommate that came to me and said, I need you to come with me to do these interviews for this really big carrier, this really big airline carrier. And I said, I am not going there. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm doing. I want to go with this small carrier. When they open up spots, I'm going to go with them. I'm going to be hired and life's going to be fantastic, exactly like I wanted. She said, please just come with me. Please, I need a companion. It's going to be stormy soon. I want someone to drive with. You can stay at my house. You can drive in my car. I'll feed you. I'll do everything. Just please come with me. And I thought, well, I have nothing else to do because it was the week of spring break and I had no family there. So I was basically sitting in a residence by myself. And I thought, okay, I'll go. Fine. We show up. I had a resume. There's thousands of people. And we went through the whole process. I went through one interview, another interview, another interview. There were 6, another interview, another interview. Then I had a medical. And then I waited, went back to school, finished up my certification. And then right when I thought, oh, they're not going to hire me either. I guess it was just a practice run for when the smaller carrier calls me. It's fine. It's just practice. I'm okay. And then they call me and say, you're hired. You have to come to Montreal in 6 days. Boom, 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 boom. I got hired. The short of it is I got hired. I went through the training. I did 10 amazing wicked years with this airline carrier. I flew all over the world, which I would not have flown if I had gone with a small carrier. And everyone that was hired on that smaller carrier ended up at our company. They went from that, and then it got transferred and renamed into that company, and then transferred and renamed into that company, and then they all ended up where I was. So you see, although I was disappointed and I wasn't sure or I wonder where this is going, I always had some kind of level of optimism, like infinite intelligence knows where I'm going. I just had a clear vision of what I saw myself doing. I didn't even really know it at the time, but I saw bigger things for myself than I actually was registering in my conscious mind. And so the point I'm trying to make here is if you keep that focus of what it is and remind yourself often, whether that be by pictures or sometimes I have voice recordings and I have a journal and I have pictures and that's one story of some fantastic things that I kind of manifested or transformed my life, completely transformed my life by those principles and those practices. And another one that I don't talk about too much, but I did a little bit on my website is when I became a mother and that position, flying all over the world, did not suit my life anymore. And I was transforming into something else. I was growing into something else. And so I thought, I have a clear vision, and that is I am home. I'm taking care of my family. That's just for me personally what I really felt. And it wasn't flying all over the world and leaving my kids for 4 days a week and having somebody else do it. I wanted to do it myself, and it was just way too much for me. And I set an intention that I will find a way. This is the result that I want. And I reminded myself clearly. And then one thing led to another. I sold a property I had. I took that, I rolled it in with my partner into something else. And then boom, we grew this amazing real estate business, which was exactly what I wanted in order for me to let that go. You know, I'm a woman, I'm a mother. I wanted to have my own thing. I wanted to have something of my own before I transferred into something else. And sure, that's just what I wanted. It's what I wanted. And so why not? And so I created it, and through a bunch of synchronicities, now it's its own real estate empire business. And so I had that idea of what it would take for me to stay at home and have that life, and I wasn't going to settle. And so boom, it just built on itself, and it just fell out in a way that worked for everyone involved. And so this, what I'm doing right now, is another extension of that. It is my calling and my heart and my intention and my calling that's coming through when all of the other things are taken care of. When we start acting on those things that we want, these things just start happening and falling out in front of us. And so this video is about stay focused and stay determined on what it is that's the outcome of whatever you want. So my little girl definitely inspired me to do this video today. And I thought, wow, we lose focus often of where we want to go. And so everything that we're doing feels so difficult. But if we were to remind ourselves, and now she loves ballet because she knows what she can be because of that practice. And yes, sometimes it's tedious. And yes, sometimes it's, so boring and so, But that little bit of effort that she does for an hour, 2 to 3 times a week, has made her into a beautiful dancer. And so if we think about that, if I think about like all the meditation that I've done, it has brought me to my calling. It has brought me to a lifestyle of freedom. It has brought me to the expression of who I truly am, and to love the parts, all the parts of me, to love all of it, the enthusiasm, sometimes the procrastination, sometimes whatever it is about me, coming into a place of loving that. And you should too. All of it's there so that you can really come into your gifts. So all of the stuff about you, analyze all the stuff about you, kind of take note of it and be aware of it, and know that all these things about you are so essential for whatever your calling is and that vision you have for yourself. That's why I teach meditation, because it brings so much clarity. It has brought me so much clarity and so much enthusiasm and so much spontaneity and so much gratitude and so much of all of it. Of course, you're sitting there like focusing on breathing, like how boring and so not, sometimes it's just tedious. But just that little bit of 5 minutes can change so much. And that's what I wanted to transmit. It's just sometimes that tedious activity in the moment can bring something like this state, for example, that I am feeling like I'm in inspired action into my highest potential, into whatever I'm here to do. And sometimes I don't totally understand, like this video is going to do what? I don't know, but it's inspired action. Hit me right when I was talking to my little girl. And so I'm following on it, because infinite intelligence and success like speed, we know that. And so acting on that in inspired action. And so it's exactly like the little course that I created. It's a mini course. It's super powerful. 5-minute meditations that build on your mindset. 5 kind of things that are required mindset to build on your highest potential, what you're trying to create, what you're trying to manifest. And so there's like energy, and there's about visualization, knowing where you're going. There's about waking up in a certain way and having gratitude, and then going to sleep and just recognizing whatever's in your body, and falling into a beautiful night's sleep for the next day, for everything that happens in the next day. And so these are just little things. Like, you would think it's just 5 minutes. Can it do that much? Yes, it can. 5 minutes of focused intention are very, very powerful. Please please don't make the mistake of thinking that something so simple is not very powerful. It is. Just thinking about something, becoming aware and having clarity on a part of you, on an aspect of who you are, can be so powerful. It can be so powerful. Everything counts. Everything counts. Instead of looking at the short term, think about the image or the feeling, the image and the feeling, which is the most important part, the feeling, but just thinking about it and knowing that that's where it is. And like you said about the story of me and the airline, sometimes the route will be like this, but know that it's all going to come out in a great place when you hold that. So just say, wow, this is not the route I expected, but okay, it's for the best. That's the image I'm holding. That's the feelings I'm holding. That is what I'm expecting. That's what my calling is, or it's something about that. So I'm going to hold that and just allow it to come. It's the long-term vision. The long-term vision is always the best from what I've seen. It's always the best. And so have that for yourself, and never think that it's not powerful enough. It is powerful enough. That's all you need. A little bit of optimism, not positivity. I'm not saying positivity, because I have been in states where I'm not that positive and it still happens because I'm optimistic. Like, oh, that's a bummer. I really thought that's what it was going to be for me. And I was bummed out for a while. And I was bummed out right before the magical synchronicities happened, where my friend came and took me and brought me to the perfect place I needed to be. I didn't feel totally positive before that moment, but I did feel optimistic, and I did know that somehow things were working out. So it's not about exhausting yourself, being in a great mood all the time. It's not just about that. It's about knowing that things are working out the way they need to work out, even if you can't see it for now. So hold something for yourself. Do these little things like pictures and writings, and just do that for yourself, and remind yourself what you're doing all of this for, what it's all for. And in order to transform out of where you are into where you're going, there has to be some kind of shift. And in order for there to be some kind of shift, in order for there to be some kind of shift, there has to be some kind of theoretical shift. There has to be some kind of experiential shift. There has to be something. And to do that, usually there's tools, there's things that we're doing that make that happen. And so those things feel tedious sometimes. I just wanted to remind you guys, and I'm reminding myself, of course. I got a good reminder of that because I've been shifting myself a lot lately. And so I keep reminding myself to just focus on that, be optimistic, know it's all going in the perfect place, and just act on inspired action, just something that runs through you. Just jump on it and do it. So that that was great. That was fun. That's my Tuesday's Transformational Tip for today. Everything that you need to know about me is below this video, so I won't tell you here. Just look below and check it out. And so I wanted to wish you a fantastic, energetic, inspired day. So right now, leave this video, go put something up for yourself that lets you know where you're going, and just keep going in that direction. I love you all. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye.